going to get started here. I'm going to introduce Kelly. I have known the guys over at VantagePoint for a very long time. If you ever get a chance to ask Lane what his favorite Starbucks drink is, please do so. It would be the funniest thing known to man, and he'll get a good chuckle out of it, and he'll know where it's coming from. But they've got a cool piece of software, and I recommend this software to folks that don't have enough time to scan every single day, day in, day out, and keep their finger on the pulse of what the market's doing. They have a really cool algorithm that will give them a 1 to 3 day prediction of whatever you're looking at. Let's just say it's Apple or Google or Facebook or anything like that. It's going to say, okay, based upon what these lines are doing, we predict that this is going to be up for the next 1 to 3 days or down for the next 1 to 3 days. It's very easy to use. I've been using it. I like it. And like I say, it is one of my recommendations to people that don't want to do the scanning themselves and become, like really, really proficient and put in a lot of time, your 10,000 hours to be a professional chart reader. And it's a kind of a shortcut for that. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Kelly, and he's going to take care of you. Good luck. Hope it helps. And I'll see you on the next one.
All right. Thanks, Hubert. Appreciate that. So I'm just going to kind of get things rolling here. Usually I kind of walk through a little bit of the how-tos in the GoToWebinar. I'm going to kind of skip over all that stuff. And just before I get started, let me just lay a little foundation for everybody who's in here. Welcome to everybody. Good to have you in here. We got some people that are still logging in. We probably will for the first 5 or 10 minutes. But this webinar, my intention is to spend less than 1 hour. I try to get down about 55 minutes because I know people can only endure so much. But it's really designed for one thing, and that's to help you see the power of artificial intelligence in your trading. Now, this works on Forex, stocks, futures, options, you name it, all of that, all the things that we all trade. And this is the same artificial intelligence that we use in our everyday life. But just realize, though, and I understand that AI and things of this nature, it's not for everybody, and it may not be for you, and that's fine, but I've learned in my time that successful people do what unsuccessful people cannot or are not willing to do. So I'll say I commend you on being here to find that out. I don't take for granted your time, okay? So with that, if I could do a quick little sound check, just mic check. If you guys can hear my voice, you can see my screen. It says today's agenda. Just give me like type in the letter yes or the letter Y for yes or M for me. Feel free to use shorthand. I can usually pick up on it pretty quickly. There's a little chat box. Anything you type in there, nobody else will see it. It's private just to me. So sometimes people don't want to type in the information there. It's private just to me. Okay, and I'll try to read off a lot of your names here. Kelvin, Virginia, Tony, I've got you. Alan, Ephraim, Richard, Don, Paul, I got you. Clyde, Kurt, Larry, welcome. Ellis, I says, good. Leslie, Ronald. And if any of you want to say, hey, you want to make sure that I see your response, just say, can you see this? And I'll typically try to respond, okay? So we'll get started here. Let me just kind of give you guys a quick little background on myself. I don't want to spend a lot of time doing this. I'm not here to just go through a whole bunch of intro stuff. I want to get to the meat and potatoes, but I think it's kind of important for you to understand a little bit about where I'm coming from because I did not grow up around the trading. Yeah, Tom, I see your response. Gotcha. I didn't grow up around trading. I was an engineer for 11 years. I got 4 engineering degrees all the way through my master's degree. So I spent a lot of time, a lot of money on call, just another story for another day. Before then, I served in the United States Army. I was a non-commissioned officer. I did military intelligence. So I've got to do some aerial surveillance stuff, seen a lot of cool things, been exposed a lot. Those are stories for other days. Finished that up, started working as an engineer. And I was about 5 or so years into my engineering career. And I just got to the point, quite frankly, I just couldn't see myself doing it for the rest of my life. That's the best I could say. I didn't hate my job, as probably most of you. Some people do. But I don't know, like you're a trader and you probably said, there's got to be something more. There's got to be a way for me to control my time. So I ended up starting up a business. It was actually something I had an idea and it took about 5 or 6 years, but that business, that idea got to the point where it was profitable enough or lucrative enough such that it had created an income stream that allowed my wife and I to effectively walk away from our corporate careers. And that's kind of where things began, life started. And then here's a couple years later, I started looking into other income streams. I think it's just smart. I'll have to have 2 to 3, maybe 4 or 5 streams of income in today's day and age. And so I started looking into trading and I started off my trading in the Forex realm, got pretty good at that. So all of you that are Forex traders, I can relate. And here's what happens. And I start looking into stocks and futures and then you start looking into the proper tools. And that's basically where the VantagePoint software and the tool and the team came into the fold for me as you start to look for more sophisticated tools. Okay, so but I want to see real quick, if you guys wouldn't mind, we'll do a little back and forth here just to get a feel for the people in the room I want to slow down, know a little bit more about the trading experience in the room. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if you were to honestly rate your trading knowledge and results, 1 means you know little to nothing about it, 10 means you're making $500,000 a year consistently, how would you rate it? Just honest answer. I'm not looking for you to try to impress me. That'll do you no good here. Just give me an honest answer, and I won't embarrass anybody. Quite a bit of 3s and 4s. Okay, I see one person says 7. Tom, I got you. Thank you. Okay, you are the highest so far. A lot of 3s, couple 2s, quite a few 2s actually. Several 5s, 1 to 2. I got you, Paul. Okay. All right, 3, 3, 3. Another 7. Okay, so it's good to know. Probably about 80% of you are a 5 or less, or a 4 even or less. Good to know. So the other thing is, yes or no. Have you? Well, actually, what do you trade? Before I get into that, what do you guys trade? Are you Forex traders, stocks, futures, options? What do you primarily trade? You probably do multiple things, but what is your primary go-to? All right. So stocks, options, stocks, options. Yeah, well, that's good. Okay, a couple Forex people in here. Stocks, options, futures, options. Only a handful of Forex people in here. Good. Not good, but it's good to know that, because sometimes it's heavy in the Forex, and I might spend a little bit of time in that arena. I'll kind of stay in the stocks and options today, so I know that. Because, and by the way, this works across all different markets, so not a big deal. Last thing I'm going to ask is this: is yes or no? Have you used artificial intelligence, like true AI, to help with your trading decisions? Yes or no? AI. Just a quick little yes or no. Lots of no's. Wow. Okay. Couple yeses. Who is that? Somebody just zinged by. Linda, I think that was you. It says yes. Frank says yes. I got 98% no. John, I think, says yes. I think if I got the names right, I'm trying to line them up. Okay, good to know. And if you're struggling, those of you said you like 1s or 2s, it's probably because you've yet to find anything that can accurately give you holistic information. That's what we need to make intelligent trades, and not make it a guessing game. Because there's always a loser, there's always a winner. And I said, okay, if that's the case, why not just separate myself and get on the winning side of the trades? And that's where the VantagePoint team, when I was kind of checking out different tools, that's where they came into the picture. So real quick, not to spend a whole lot of time on this, but just to let you know, for those that don't know the VantagePoint company, listen to me, they are a software company. They are not a trading educator. So please understand that. I'm not here to teach you a technique. We're going to stay away from that. They're not a broker. They're not a company out there trying to sell you a trading system or a trading strategy. They don't get involved with your money. They don't get involved with your trades. I personally believe it's a little bit of a conflict of interest. They provide a tool, really powerful tool. They have patents on it. We'll go over all that. They've been around for 40 years, so you can write that down, 30 of which have been specific to the AI industry and trading. And I don't know about you, James, Michael, but I've owned my company, the one I was talking about a bit before, Billy. I've owned it for over 12 years now, and I know for a fact that you do not last 40 years in anything unless you have a rock solid foundation. I mean, you have got to be doing something pretty darn good. Would you guys agree with that? Like, I don't care if it's a marriage, a relationship, a business, like, you got to be doing something pretty good. And since 1991, when VantagePoint software, kind of as we know it today, was released, they've changed more than 29,000 lives. And there's so many reasons I can go into as to why that's true. And when you get to know the company and the culture, you'll see that firsthand. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but I believe the reason why they maintain themselves as the industry leader is because of a simple mantra or philosophy, and that is to empower traders daily. And I understand that's a pretty broad statement, pretty loaded statement, but we'll kind of get into that and we'll break that down. And that's led up at the entire foundation came from these two gentlemen right here. They're a father-son combination that have revolutionized the trading world with AI. So it's good. It's not about a cute little trading system. This is something that's been in works for years and years and years. They've been around for a long time. These guys are experts in the AI field. They've been using AI for over 30 years now, before even people knew what it was, before Terminator, the movie. Features in NASDAQ. You may have seen Lane on different shows out there if you're a financial person. He's been around the world talking about leveraging AI to make trading decisions. You might recognize him there with Kevin Harrington and some of the shows. And I could sit here and bore you all day long with tons of stories and try to help build up the credibility. And I don't need to do all that stuff. You guys don't have time for that. I could tell you stories for days. But go check them out at some point in time. Don't do it right now, but go check out some of the background, the company, the stats, pick up a couple of books maybe that Lewis Mendelson wrote, watch some videos online. I am telling you, Lewis Mendelson is like the Steve Jobs of AI software. And Lane, his son, has been around this nearly his entire life. So imagine if Steve Jobs, rest in peace, the founder of Apple, was able to, before he passed away, train up his son. And then at the point where he felt that his son was ready to take over the company, just hand it off. That's another level. That's 40 years in the same industry will do that. It's called credibility. It's called longevity. Nothing more, nothing less. So just know a little bit of history about that, because I know as a trader sometimes every time we turn around there's something gimmicky coming at us. I get that. I mean, I live in the world. We understand that. These guys have been around for 40 years. They know what they're doing. So that's a quick little intro. Let me shift gears, start getting into what we actually came to talk about, and I thank you for allowing me to go over that real quick. Here's my promise. By the time I'm done here, you will have full confidence in the power of artificial intelligence to make better trading decisions. But more important than that, or in addition to that, you're going to see how even the newest trader, I don't care if you're brand new, you said you're a 1 or a 2, you can leverage it as a decision support tool to make trading decisions regardless of the size account you trade with. It's not specific to this. Because you can make a lot of money, and a lot of people know this. You can make a lot of money. That's the lure of the market. You can make it very quickly, but there's no such thing as an overnight success. Would you agree? And I tire of people talking about like try to get rich quick. This is a tool set. Tools require us to develop skills to use them effectively. They train here. They help. They guide. So as that said, as I go through this demo here, and I want you to kind of ask yourself this. Ask yourself, can I see myself doing that? Does that make sense? Can I see myself leveraging the technology? Maybe you're scared by artificial intelligence. You think like Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I get that. But I believe that the answer is yes. I personally believe, James, that you're well on your way to creating what I refer to as financial independence. And here is my definition of that. It's simply being able to control your life. You don't have to be a multimillionaire to do that. It's getting to the point where you can do what you want, where you want it, when you want to do it, with the people you want to do it with. Is that fair enough? And I'll just say this, and I'll shift gears, that we're so confident that this tool will increase your trading success. We believe here, if you can't gain an additional advantage leveraging the software, you may not be able to gain any more advantage in your trading at all. And I know that's a very, very bold statement, but I think the next 30, 45 minutes is gonna back it up. All right. So let's shift gears, get into kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be going over before we really jump into the meat of it. First of all, let me just bring up the software. Let's get on the same page. I'm going to grab a quick drink of water as I roll this over. Can you guys all see my response or my screen right now with the VantagePoint software up on it? Good to go? Type in a yes or a Y. Cool. All right, Paul, got you. Tom, appreciate that. Dwight, Tammy, Ephraim. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. When you open up the software, it looks like this. We'll dig a little deeper into the indicators and all this sort of stuff. But one of the things that I really liked about it when I was first introduced was some of the user friendliness of it. I don't know why. I have looked at other software tools, and I'm sure you probably use them. I don't know why some trading tools tend to be super complicated. Like you have to be a computer scientist to understand them. Has anybody ever felt that way? I don't know if they try to overwhelm people to make themselves feel needed. Not here. These guys, they want to make it simple. Steve Jobs, actually, the Apple guy, he's known for saying simple is difficult, and they've actually crushed it. Yeah, Sean, yes. Okay, so let me kind of explain what we're looking at here before we jump into everything. These are just basic menus. I'm not going to go over them and make this super elementary. You kind of get the idea. I mean, portfolios is, you could set up portfolios. Hey, here's all my bullish stocks. Oh, here's everything bullish. It's going to be stocks, forex options. I can set up a portfolio of technology things that are bearish, whatever, any portfolio you want. But you come over here. What this is on the left-hand side, these are all markets that you can analyze with the tool. Futures, Forex, ETFs, US stocks, Canada stocks, crypto. If I'm to open up, let's just say, for instance, US stock, these are called sectors, okay? These are called sectors. So cannabis sector, consumer cyclical, healthcare. I'm going to open up technology sector, and within the technology sector, you have all the individual stocks. Dozens and dozens of them within the technology sector. I can do this all day long. Now, you might go, well, I don't know where the one that I want to look at is hiding. You're right. So you just can use a search. So would you guys mind typing in a couple stocks that you might want to bring up? I'll bring up a few, and I have a few that are getting some turnarounds that I'm going to use a little bit later on. Just type in a couple. All right. So of course, everybody always goes for Apple first. Let me start with that one. So I just typed it in. You can know the ticker symbol. You don't have to type in Apple, and I'm just going to double click on it, and it opens up the chart. Don't mind the indicators right now. We'll go over all this. Somebody else says Amazon, ABZN. If you do the ticker symbol, you can also do that. There's Amazon. Okay. Amazon's, ooh, we might want to check that out. Good heads up on that. I'll talk about what this means. Remind me if I forget to come back to Amazon a little bit later on, talk about what this means. Let's see, what are a couple other ones you guys have up here? Let's see. Ulta, interesting. Somebody said Ulta. All right, well, Ulta Salon, let's open that guy up. There's some random stuff. It doesn't have to all be techie stuff. So kind of ugly, and you're going to see this stuff. So that's it. Keyvon asked about IEI. I don't know what IEI is. So, oh, 3-year Treasury. Gotcha. So here's the idea behind it. And I'll go back to Apple because most people are familiar with Apple. The way we're going to look at this, let me turn off these indicators first, keep the bars up there, and we'll kind of break these indicators down. I'll show you exactly what all of them mean. And these are actually, and I'll come back to some of yours, guys. I know you're typing a lot of things. I'll come back if we have some time, just toward the end. If we have a couple minutes left, remind me, I'll come back, okay? So what we're going to look at with the software is their daily candlesticks. Daily candlesticks. Now, you can use this for day trading, swing trading, position trading. Scalping might not be the best tool. I know some people that do. There's a lot. This is not about technique specific. This is predicting what's going to happen over the next 1 to 3 days or even position long term. So these are candlesticks, as you well know, and we'll be talking about this daily candlesticks, and we're going to go over this, and we'll kind of dig into this a little bit more. Every day at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, the software goes up. It gets all the data inputs and it analyzes all the data inputs and uses its patterns to kind of expand and predict. I'll break this down. You're going to understand all that, okay? And a lot of you, I see American Tower, I see Qualcomm, I see all these. I'll come back in. Now, let's break this down about why things work and why things sometimes work less good before we jump into the software and really get into it. How many of you are familiar? Type in to me if you're familiar with what I call the usual suspects. Now, this is not a trick question. This is not to go, ha, you've been doing it all wrong. But a lot of us that trade, we have used one, if not all of these to make our trading decisions. Would you agree? Yes, of course. So Tom, Savannah, Paul, Harsh, Terrence, Susan, I got you, Theodore. I try to make your names. I got Mark. Okay, these are not bad. You can use them in conjunction with the tool and the software, but here's the challenge with every single one of these and many, many more is that they're all what we call lagging price indicators. And lagging price indicators are looking at what has happened versus what could potentially or what is going to happen. And ultimately, I don't know about you, and this might be a little bit of an over-exaggeration, but how many of you found yourselves with a chart kind of looking something like this? You know, obviously a little exaggeration there, but have you ever had so many lagging indicators on your screen you literally can't even tell which way is up and down? And that was me. Like when I was new, I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I looking at? And we try to get this confirmation. It's crazy, right? So things are all over the place. Here's the thing. Yeah, Bob on the left, he's throwing his hands up. If everybody uses all those indicators, lagging, then why do a large majority of traders fail to turn any substantial profit or create any real favorable return patterns? It's not that a large majority of the traders are unintelligent. I don't believe that. I believe you're here and you're a trader and you're a pretty smart individual because you're here. It's simply that most traders are not using tools that forecast the market, right? They're not using Virginia ink blot test. That's funny. That's good stuff. They're not using tools that forecast the market. So what options are we left with? When you and I are trying to get ahead and make a profit in the market, because trading tools are somewhat lacking, very few, if any of them, predict. They all trend follow. And knowing this, we can either be like Bob on the left-hand side there and throw our hands up in the air and not trade. And how many of you would agree that's just simply not an option? I'm not here to get you pumped up about trading. That's just not an option. You're going to trade. You're a trader. Or we can buy every trading system under the sun, hoping to find one that gives us an edge. We can attend every school, every trading school possible, or we can learn to leverage a more intelligent approach. We can leverage the fact that it's 2019 now, and we have modern software and data analysis and computing power to have machines help us make holistic decisions. Not up arrows, down arrows, but big, like information-based decisions based off of relationships. We can leverage that information to make predictive indicators with up to 86% accuracy. And I'll actually show you a third-party study a little bit later on with that kind of accuracy, somebody on the outside. There's lots of them out there, 86%. And some people, like, you got to be kidding me. Here's the bottom line. You're a trader, and you've already decided to do this. So I'm not here to show you how much opportunity there is. Here's my point throughout the rest of this webinar. And I want you to really consider this. You're going to trade anyway because you're a trader. Why not gain the greatest advantage possible? Okay? So let's kind of move forward. I'm gonna break this down into a couple different pieces. First of all, let me talk about AI and some of the hangups that people have with AI, and hopefully I can help you with this. Because I've found in talking to a lot of people, people are afraid or nervous about it. Let me just explain what it is and why it's around you everywhere already, and you use it to literally save your life every day. It's nothing new. It's around us everywhere, and we don't even really think about it. In its most simple form, AI, artificial intelligence, they're algorithms, mathematical equations, and they spot patterns and leverage other patterns to make future decisions. Machine learning, trying to mimic how the brain might respond to something, and they call them neural networks on how everything works together. A whole bunch of technical mumbo jumbo that we're not going to really spend time getting into because you don't care. It's likely though that you've interacted with some form of AI in your day-to-day activities. Maybe you use Siri and it's predicting what you're going to say, or Google. I don't know if you guys have seen. I have 3 kids. We watched what was the movie? Ralph Breaks the Internet, and he goes in there and he's trying to search for things. The guy's trying to predict what he's searching for, and it's funny because we do this in our day-to-day activity. Or you have like Alexa, and Alexa, she tries to maybe you own a newer vehicle. Like for instance, my wife has a Buick SUV. I have a Lexus, and both of those cars yell at us if we get too close to another car. Tesla, for crying out loud, will drive itself. These are all forms of AI. Here's a real simple form on explain kind of a concept here. Think about this. What if a machine was given millions of pictures to analyze? Would it fair to reason that with modern computing software that the machine could actually learn and acquire the ability to recognize similar patterns, shapes, and more, and predict those patterns? Well, check this out. The answer is yes. Okay. So, Majid just says this, and this is always funny. And I get that. Some people, hey, get to the point. This is the point, Majid. This is the point. I have done this with tens of thousands of people, and I find that people have a hang up here. And I appreciate the willingness to want to get into things real quick, but I just need to help people understand some things. So patience, I promise you this is going to be good. Okay. So I appreciate the anxiety there. All right. So let's go over this. Let's go over like what neural networks do. How do things work together? Okay. Neural network. Can a neural network learn to recognize doodling? Let's go and draw. What it's going to do, and watch what happens here. And I'm going to spend about 30 seconds here. Go one day and check this out. You'll spend like 30 minutes here. It'll waste 30 minutes of your life. It's called quickdraw.withgoogle.com. And it's actually predicting what you're going to draw using these neural networks, just kind of like how we would predict where the market might go using the same neural network. So it says, draw roller skates. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. So with the drawing that I'm making here, it says, I see tooth. It's trying to predict what I'm drawing. It says, I see a shoe. I put a skate there. Oh, I know it's a roller skate. So it just simply compared all of its previous millions and millions of inputs and says, here's what I predict that you're drawing. Think about that. Let's take this concept to a more practical application. Nest. Some of you heard of it. Some people think it's just a thermometer. Well, if Nest is just a thermometer for your room or a rheostat or whatever, then why the heck did Google buy Nest for $3 billion? They didn't buy it because it was a cool tool. They bought it because of the AI in it. And I don't know if you know this, but Nest actually can tell when you're coming, when you're going. They can learn your patterns. They can turn your air conditioning on for you and turn other systems on for you because it knows when you're going to be home. A little scary if you ask me. But so just like with our smartphone, the longer a machine has to learn our behaviors, the smarter it becomes. Here's the point and why I go through all this. We already use it. We trust artificial intelligence to help make decisions with our daily lives without even thinking twice about it. So if all this can happen on our smartphone, in our car, in our air conditioning, think about what it can do for our trading. Consider this. Just like with that Google Draw thing, consider if I had 30 years of learned behavior of the market and I had patterns in which to make decisions upon. Let's explore how the market does that. Let's explore some of the patterns. And a lot of you understand those sort of things, but some things like relational patterns. E-mini, NASDAQ, and Amazon, you may or may not know this, but those have a one-to-one correlation. they generally move in the same correlation, same direction. Things something like a financial sector ETF. Not sure if you understand this. Well, it makes sense that Amazon's part of the E-mini NASDAQ, so okay, it kind of drives it. Bank of America is also part of the financial sector ETF, has the same complex curve. And so these are relational things. And yes, we can probably pick up on a couple of these on our own. And I have friends that trade and they have some spreadsheets and they can kind of track 2 or 3 different relational ones. Well, what if it starts getting a little bit more complex, like the E-mini S&P 500, which is futures, and then gold. Those actually move in an inverse direction. And these are just kind of a few, but what I've seen and what I understand that although this is all good, because just like in the draw game, we can take sets of data and find out how everything is similar, find out how the drawings, how they have a weighted calculations of all the images that are like it, so too can we look at the markets and do the same thing. And it's humanly impossible for a trader to visualize and calculate every single complicated intermarket correlation. So things affect other things. And the only way to grasp the significance of this is through sophisticated mathematical processes. And that's what VantagePoint does. It leverages neural networks to identify, this is the key, listen, identifies which global markets have the most influence on a target market, i.e. Apple. Then it produces a set of intermarket data, generates predictive technical indicators that give us price and trend forecasts. And they do this because of 2 patents that they developed. So this is not about a system. This is not about a strategy. This is not about a style of trading. It's about making decisions based upon holistic information, okay? Holistic information. So what if we could take all that data, compare it all to each other, determine how each stock and currency and ETF and futures and Forex relates to each other, find out the way in which they're related, and can visualize that all on one screen. That's what we're going to be doing. And that's what the software does in the background. It's very, very simple, and it's not going to take long. I'm going to open up a chart here. We're going to go over some things because, quite frankly, it's simple. The software does all the work. All you and I have to do is understand what's happening behind it, interpret it, and that's basically what VantagePoint is going to teach you how to do. So first, let's look at this. And so as I go through this, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Some of you have already asked some good questions. Some of these questions are maybe one-on-one answers. If at any point throughout the webinar, if one of 2 things, maybe you have a question that you don't feel like I'm answering and you'd like to talk to somebody one-on-one about that question, type in your phone number, and if you can, maybe an abbreviated version of your question. As soon as the webinar is over, we'll reach out to you. We'll have a one-on-one conversation. That way, it's just not all unidirectional. Some of you are looking at the software and say, this looks very interesting. I'd like to talk to somebody. You know, at the end of the session, I'll talk about, there's actually a webinar special. Some of you maybe looked into this software before. You're going to be very, very pleased. Hey, but maybe you want to talk to somebody and get some questions answered specifically about the software or maybe getting access to it. Type in a phone number. Let us know. We'll get on the phone. It doesn't commit you to anything. It just says, hey, we'll have a conversation to see if it's a good fit. Fair enough? And Jerry, I have yours, and I'll reach out as soon as you get done. Yeah, Jefferson, I believe so. It's a great question asking about the Brazilian market. Monica, I have your phone number as well. So just as a heads up, so you guys understand that. So let's go back into the market, and let's just kind of break this down. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to find out, Sean, I have your phone number as well. We're going to first talk about like how things are related to each other. And this is one of the patents that the software actually has. Let me close this guy back up. Let me close all these stocks and everything back up, clean it up a little bit. Everything's closed up. Go to my open views. And Rick, it's actually separate. It's a separate tool. I'm going to right click on Apple and I'm going to open up properties. And you don't have to memorize how to do all this stuff. Again, we'll teach you. There's lots of classes. We'll teach you how to do this, leverage the software. There's videos and tutorials and all kinds of other stuff. So all I did is right click, and here's what it is. This is the INTERMARKETs tab. Now, there's a patented process to figure all this out. I would say there's probably 30 or so different ETFs, futures, and stocks. Here's what's happening. The tool, the software, scans 10,000 markets around the world. And each time, what it does, it looks at the high, the low, the open, the close, the volume, and it crunches all that data to determine which markets are driving, in this example, Apple, up, sideways, or down, and at what rate, and at what percentage, and how much weight. It also calculates the degree of impact. So, for instance, if you look at this, these are all the things that are influencing Apple. And some of these make sense. Okay, well, Japanese yen, and I could double click on here, Japanese yen, open it up right here and I say, okay, well, that's influencing Apple. That kind of makes sense because they probably make their parts over there, and maybe gold because it's a metal and they use that. But down here, like Starbucks. So you're trying to tell me that Starbucks influences whether or not Apple stock is going to go up and down? That's what that's saying. Well, why is that? I don't know. Maybe because every time they open up a Starbucks, they make people buy more MacBooks. I don't know. Marriott, maybe that's because that's the preferred hotel that Apple uses. I don't work at the company. I don't know. And Array Biopharma, I mean, I can go on and on. These are all the things that affect. So even if, James and Ruby, even if we could determine all of these relations, which is virtually impossible, there's no way in the world that we could figure out the weight of each of these and the directional bias. So as Starbucks goes up, does Apple go down? I don't know. What's the weight of it? That's what the patent does. So without even getting into any of the predictive nature of the software, like we're already doing things that most people try to do with a simple little spreadsheet, and it's almost unfathomable. Let's say that 5 times fast. We're already doing things that nobody can do. Would that be helpful just right there? Again, we haven't even gotten to the predictive nature, but how many of you would find like, okay, that's helpful. That's good for me to know because I trade some of the same things. I want to know what's influencing it today. Yeah, exactly. So Rick says people use their Apple phones at Starbucks. That's exactly right. So that's the first piece of it. That's one of the patents. And I'll go back to Apple. Well, now let's start breaking down, Paul, some of the predictive nature of the tool, because that stuff was all unpredictive. That's just relational. That's neural networks. Let's talk about some of the predictive nature of the tool. Eva, I got your phone number, by the way, and Kenneth, I have your phone number. I'll reach out to you as soon as we're done. Here's where it gets kind of exciting. Larry, thank you. Here's where it gets kind of exciting. When using artificial intelligence, it's really important to understand that everything plays together. It's not about an indicator. The system learns from the network. So although having one indicator on its own, Derek, is good, and it can tell us quite a bit, we really start getting answers when we're using them all to help determine what might happen next. So this is what we're going to call 4 points of confirmation. We're going to look at predictive indicators 4 different ways. And if all 4 of those line up, we have a good reason to believe the market could be heading up or could be heading down. And I'll break these down and I'll turn them on Apple. And then if we have some time, we'll go over some other ones and just make sure we be good to go. Let me just kind of break this down. The first one we'll look at, and I'll turn this on Apple in a bit here, is, and you might want to maybe write these down. You don't need all the details of this. Again, we'll train you. But number 1 is the crossovers. The crossovers. Now, there's a medium-term one, a short-term one, and a long-term one. Which one you use is going to be depending on your trading style. You might want to use all 3 at the same time. That's up to you. When we look at this on the software, actually, you know what? Let me open the backup on the software after I explain kind of the predict nature. The black line represents a 10-day moving average, just a simple moving average. If you don't know what a simple moving average is, it just takes the price points, if you will, of the last 10 days, divides it by 10, creates a point, and then connects the dots. That's a SMA, simple moving average. The blue line represents what we call a predicted moving average, Nancy. Predicted moving average. This is where the AI comes in. And what it's doing is it's predicting, it's adding to the simple moving average 2 to 3 days of predicted. Here's where the software anticipates it's going to be this point, and it creates another line. And what we're looking for, and I go back to the software, and I'll just turn on my crossover right here. What we're looking for, and I can go all the way back. This is on 3 months. Let me even go back 6 months so you guys kind of see some of this. This is Apple. Let's go back 9 months if you can see some of this stuff. What we're looking for is the blue line to cross over the black line and the blue line to cross over the black line. When the blue line crosses up, as it did here, it's expecting the market to rally, as it did for several months. It crossed down, it's expecting the market to decline. And then the farther away that those lines get from each other, the greater the separation angle, the greater the strength of the trend. It's called, you get like momentum. This is where the market starts getting strong. So let's go over to kind of like more near now. Yeah, Arena says, does it work on all time frames? Arena, this is a daily candlestick. What it does is each day it predicts what the next day's range will be. I'll explain to you how you use that for day trading and swing trading and position trading. Okay, I'll explain that in a little bit here. But as you can see, about a month ago, or a little bit less than a month ago, it crossed over, had a nice little run up. Okay, or it crossed over down here, it had a nice little run down. I mean, these are some nice little moves just from this predicted indicator. I'm not even going to take advantage of the whole movement, I'm gonna right click on this down movement, right click here, profit calc. So it dropped 13.52%. This was predicted. $27.43 per share over 18 days. So if you're a trader and you're trading Apple, let's just say you buy, I don't know, 500 shares. Maybe that's a lot. Maybe that's not a lot for you. I can even say 100 shares if you want to. Let's do that. Let's do 100 shares times $27.43 per share. We're talking a $2,700 profit out of 18 days. The market reverses, you wait for the indicator, you wait for the green, and it goes up. And currently, let's just say we are still in and it's down a little bit, and over the course of the last 10 days or so, it's down a little bit. This is a 5.4% growth. If you took those same 100 shares, 100 times 10.29, that's another $1,000, okay? Yeah, for sure, Tim. Remind me of that at the end. So that's just the movements on here. Now, what does this mean? When it crosses over, though, you're now looking for the first indicator. That's the first piece. That's all I care about so far. So far, just since the beginning of May, just on Apple, we're talking over $3,500 just on Apple. Okay? All right, well, now, before I make any decisions, though, I don't want to just do one indicator. I need a couple more. The second one is, you want to write down, is called the Predicted Neural Index. And what this does, it's a proprietary value. It predicts whether the average price, so the other one was talking about SMAs and everything, this one predicts whether the average price is expected to be higher or lower in the next 1 to 3 days of trading. And it's kind of like a sequential thing. It's kind of like if you go to a doctor and you have an ailment and you say, well, the one doctor says, like for instance, right over here, let me turn on the neural indicator real quick, neural index. All right, so let's just say we were lining up right here before the market started going down, and we said, okay, we had a crossover, and so that was good information, but our second doctor, we come down here and we say, the second doctor says it's red, okay? When the crossover occurs, the very first thing we're gonna do is look down at the neural index. And when these two agree, when it crosses over heading down and this is red, that means that you're a good place to potentially make a sell trade or a short trade, or however you wanna say this. If it goes up, same thing on the other side. When it move up, we look down, neural indicator, neural index, it's green, so we have 2 points of confirmation. And as long here as this blue line stays above that black line, we can look to stay into the market. Now, if you're more of a position trader. Okay, is this making sense so far? Okay? Is this helping you out a little bit? Just kind of see, like, I just want to break it down so you understand it's 4 points of confirmation. We've only gone over 2 so far. One of them is based off of moving averages, predicted moving averages. The other one's based off of a neural index and a predicted value of whether the average price is going to go up or down in the next 2-3 days. They've been doing this for over 30 years. These guys know what they're doing. All right, now let's go into the third one. It's called the predicted differences. Okay, predicted differences. By the way, Eduardo, I have your phone number. I'll reach out to you as soon as we're done with this. If you type in your phone number, just make sure you let me know what specifically you're looking for. Here's my phone number. I want to talk more about the software. I'm interested. That's fine. I got a question. The third one is called the predicted differences. The predicted differences, there's actually 3 indicators built into one, Scott. And it shows the predicted direction. Now, before, remember, we're talking about average price and crossovers. Now it's the predicted direction of that particular market over the next 1 day, over the next 2 days, and over the next 3 days, all independently. Now, each of those are an indicator in of themselves, but we use them all together. And this is what it looks like. So the aqua blue line right here, this aqua blue line, this represents, it shows the predicted direction of the market 1 day in advance. This pink line shows the predicted direction of the market 2 days in advance. And the blue line shows the predicted direction of the market 3 days in advance. And here's what we need to get confirmation from this piece. We want to see, kind of like right here, let's say we're looking at the market, and I'll show you a couple that are lining up for tomorrow. Matter of fact, Apple's lining up for tomorrow. I'll show you that in a bit. What we want to see is all 3 of these lines moving in the same direction, up in this example, at the same angle. And that would be the same direction as the crossover. So if the crossover was green, we want these to be up. So if we see that they're conflicting, like over here, actually, let me bring back up Apple and just kind of bring it up. So this is usually down here at the bottom. We put it down there. So I got my long-term one, my medium-term one, and my short-term one. And we can see here when we finally got some agreement there, we can see here when the market turned around and went up. How many of you could see, type it in me if you could see that those 3 are basically parallel, all heading up, all lining up with the crossover, all lining up with the neural index. Making sense? So we want all three of those to line up so far before getting into trade. So you start going, well, what about today? What's happening today? How many of you can see? Type into me if you could see that right now. Oops, actually, let me just delete this guy here. Delete that guy. Clean these guys up so you don't have a bunch of stuff all over the screen. This is right now. Type into me if you could see that right now we are currently looking at, we don't yet have the crossover, but we have a neural index and we have those three pointing in the same direction down. So this is like, we're now being aware of this. And somebody just asked me, is there a way I can scan for this? Yes. Write down the word IntelliScan on your paper and ask about that. It's not something I'm going over today in the webinar. I don't have enough time, but there is a tool built into here. It's not part of the webinar special, but there's a tool that you can have where you can actually take all 1,200 stocks, you can scan them all, or currencies or whatever you're using on, you can scan them all, and you could say, okay, tool, tell me when I have this condition, this condition, this condition, this condition, therefore giving me the proper conditions and all points of confirmation to trade with. How beneficial would that be? And you can, instead of looking at hundreds, that's what Huber was talking about in the beginning, instead of looking at hundreds of different stocks in a day or currencies or whatever, you can look at one or two or three. And the fourth one is the gray predictive candle. This is my favorite, and I'm going to tell every person in here, this was the one that I was most skeptical of when I was first looking at this tool. They are proclaiming right here, and I'll show you some history here, they're proclaiming that they're going to forecast the candle for the next day. And when they told me that, that's when my BS radar went up. I'm just straight up. I mean, I remember going through this, probably a lot of you like, okay, you're trying to tell me you're predicting tomorrow's trading range, you're predicting tomorrow's candlestick. Show me some proof of that. Show me some accuracy behind that. Show me that it's been, working for a period of time. And so what we would use this gray candlestick for, so if you want to look at this, you use the gray candlestick. So if you're a day trader, you'd use this gray candlestick for your range. Well, I'm going to stay within this range tomorrow. Maybe you're a position trader, you want to use that as so you're a swing trader, you want to use that as a stop loss. Maybe you're more of a position trader and you're just looking to make sure you're staying in the same direction. That predictive candle, so let me show you this. This is actually part of this. And they told me, they said, okay, well, we'll show you some of the history of this. Go over here to F5, hit on P high and P low. And what it's going to do, it's going to actually show you the results over the past, you want to look back a year? Let's look back a year. It's hard to see it. Let's look back 6 months. You can see a little bit better. And if you look here, what's being represented on the chart right now is simply the red line represents, and I'll zoom in a little bit, the red line represents the predicted high for the day, the gray candle. The black line represents what the predicted low was for the day, and then the candles are the candles. How many of you can see that is probably a good 70% accuracy, if not better, throughout the course of the last 6, 7, 8, 12 months. Do you guys see that? And that was the thing, when I saw that, I was like, okay, like now we're talking about something that I can actually use. Everything else I can use. Everything else is good, but now I can actually use this to say my predicted trading range for tomorrow is ... And when all four of those line up, that was the game changer for me. When all four of those line up, that's what we call getting 4 points of confirmation. And we do not look to get into trades unless we have all points of confirmation. Now, as you get more proficient with this, you might want to skip over one or two. That's up to you. But if I want the best results, I want the most amount of confirmation, because I'll tell you this. We as traders, we all know what it means to be emotional traders. How many of you can agree with this statement here? Type it to me. That I would rather be out of a trade wishing that I were in than in a trade wishing that I were out. Is that, I'd rather be that. I'd rather be out wishing that I were in than in wishing that I were out. Now, I'm not telling you to go trade Apple right now, and I'm not even telling you that it's at the right price point right now. What I'm saying is that 3 of those right now are lining up. If the 4th one lines up, we have a potential to short the market. You're not going to jump ahead. AM, I see your comment there. You're not going to jump ahead. You're going to wait for the confirmation. That's it. And so here's what it would look like. If I'm looking for an uptrend, I'm going to want to cross over. The blue line is going to cross over the black line. I need my neural index to be green, right? I need my predicted differences all moving up at the same angle, and I need my predicted bar higher than the previous day trading range. Those are the 4 for confirming an uptrend. If I want to confirm a downtrend, crossover blue line below the black line. We can get you this, and there's cheat sheets for this. It's the same thing heading down. Same thing. And so we look each day and go, okay, is it there? Is it there? Is it there? Or I can scan the market. And it ultimately ends up looking like this. On the left-hand side, you see some great indications for an uptrend. In the middle there and on the right, you see some great indications for a downtrend. How many of you think that this is a heck of a lot more reasonable to leverage than trying to track every single lagging indicator under the sun? Right, Reginald, I got you. How many of you feel that if we could provide this software, train you up on it, give you a coach, guide you while you figure it out, you could take the next year, learn how to leverage it, and you could probably turn some pretty decent profits if it were something that were reasonable, yes or no? Like, because that's the thing, people go, well, is it reasonable? This is not a $15,000 software if that's what you're concerned about, okay? This is something that actually works, and what Lane has done is making it very, very affordable for people to kind of try it out. Some people just want to try things out. They don't want to commit their whole life to something. And as you start to go through the software, Michael, and you start to evaluate whether this is going to work for you, regardless of whether you're going to triple your profits. And I know some of you are asking about some Forex stuff. I'll bring that up in a second. Just look. Guys like Anderson, it says he's a beginner. It's simple and intuitive. The main characteristic I like was how powerful it was in pointing out in seconds what it takes to trade according to my own personal ambition and behavior. That's Anderson. And you get guys like Alfred. I love this one. He says, when I heard about VantagePoint, I was skeptical. After my second training session, I bought 3 different options. All 3 were closed in 5 days, and my profit was $6,452. Never seen profits like that before, so I asked myself, training is the very best. Product gives me the information I need. The charts are presented in as good a form as I've seen. 90 years old. 90 years old. Excuse remover. I love it, you know, and I can go on, and I could show you multiple examples because, you know, people want to see our people doing this. You know, Andrew says I made 115% my first 2 weeks using the software. I've actually, they suggested VantagePoint. This one is 87% accuracy. I've witnessed it, this accuracy through paper trading and real trades. I can see myself trading full time. Billy right here. VantagePoint has slowly helped me. He's been in and out of the stock market 7 years ago and has lost a good deal of money. Probably pretty relatable to you. It's helped me recover the money I've lost over the years. My advice to traders would be to buy the VantagePoint software. Don't get too greedy or anxious. Wait till VantagePoint indicates a good buy or sell, and you will make money. And you might be saying, Kelly, you're just cherry picking all the best reviews. And great, you can believe that. Go over to the website, go check out VantagePoint, and go just look at some of the reviews. There's dozens, probably even hundreds of them here. Videos that you can see of reviews, and then text testimonials via text that you can see of reviews. I find that VantagePoint has given me an edge that I didn't have before when I used the program with weekly contracts. He's a futures trader. All right, down here, VantagePoint helps me put it all together and understand better entry points and when trends are emerging. Jose, and I could do this all day long. You go, well, what about other companies? Are there any outside resources that we have of people that have reviewed the software? Absolutely. Again, there's press reviews out there, dozens and dozens of them from other companies that put their name on the line saying, hey, VantagePoint, we recommend it. It's good. One of them is Your Trading Edge by Terry Wooten. Check this out. This is so wild because, and I don't want to go, I'm not going to go over the whole article. You can go check it out. He talks about all the enhancements and what's available there, the trend and everything. And he says, I tested over an extended period of time. This is what a lot of you want to know for back testing. For the purposes of this test, my time frame was June 2013 to December 2017, 3.5 years. I wanted to have a multi-year testing that I could truly evaluate consistency, which is what a lot of trader strategies lack. And says he did multiple ones, U.S. stocks, high of 82%, low of 80%, pretty darn good. ETFs, high of 79.6, low of 78.8. Commodities, high of 82.2, low of 80. This is just one independent review amongst many that I can show you over and over and over. And you start to get the idea. And I'm going to kind of go back into that a little bit. And I can show you person after person. By the way, Sergio, I have your phone number. I'll reach out as soon as we're done. I can show you person after person, example after example of people doing this and getting availability and making good trades. But I ask you this, with all the success you just saw on the tool, let me ask a question, be honest. If you had all these tools and it was very, very reasonable and it didn't, you know, drain your bank account that I just demonstrated at your disposal, and I could teach you, or VantagePoint could teach you a skill set where you could take a couple $1,000 investment trade and confidently, with good information, make thousands of dollars confidently with a peace of mind, would you let the VantagePoint team train you, yes or no? Let me rephrase it. Would you join the more than 29,000 other clients who've had their lives changed? Because remember, you're going to trade anyway because you're a trader. Why not gain the greatest advantage possible? Let me just kind of break this down. Because I know a lot of people saying, well, what was the cost of it? I get that. Look, this is actually a webinar special. This is not available outside the webinar. This is a chance for people to kind of get to wet their toes with it. It's very, very reasonable. there are other options, like for instance, the first part of the webinar special, they're going to give you a 12-month license. Now you say, can I do a lifetime access? Yes. If you want to talk about lifetime access, you know, type in your phone number, say, I'd be interested in talking lifetime access. This is for a single device. Yes, you can get multiple devices, but this webinar special is just for that. And so during the webinar special, they'll give you the first 3 weeks. They're going to give you every market and sector out there. They're going to give you all the data. Okay, futures, forex, ETFs. You can explore it all, poke around with it. If you're a forex trader, a futures trader, you want to poke around with it for the first 3 weeks, and then after that, you'll choose a sector. Might I recommend that if you're a stock trader, choose the technology sector. It's got the greatest opportunity there after about 3 weeks. You have a quick start user guide, which you'll reference a lot when you're brand new. You have some video tutorials online. But more importantly, there's people that are actually involved with you. They call them relationship account managers, and this is a person that you're going to know, dedicated, a one-on-one customer support rep, and you're going to have access to them for the first 6 months. So you can call them every day if you need to. Now, I wouldn't recommend that, but you can. Get your questions answered as often as you need to. There's a person there to help you understand and better use the software. They'll even install it for you. You get guys like Sam. Now, Sam's cool story. He's a registered pharmacist in Florida. John, I have your phone number. And Gerald, I have your phone number. Harish, I have your phone number as well. Thank you. Appreciate that. Eric, I got you as well. Okay. So he owns several pharmacies and looks to slow down his hectic career by supplementing with his trading. He'd been trading for several years and had just recently purchased a $15,000 software. Very unpleased with it, so he became very, very skeptical with VantagePoint. Like a lot of you, and some of you are saying, hey, Apple's not where it's predicted today. Okay, it's going to happen. There's no tool in this world that's 100% accurate, but you just saw me backtrack over 6 months, probably about 70–80% accuracy, okay? Just realize that. He saw VantagePoint, he was skeptical. However, he realized that in order to do anything great, you need to have sophistication, so he took a leap. And for the next couple months, he made a bunch of money. But he said to himself, statistically, he needed to see at least 6 months of history in profits so he can have confidence and know that it's not a fluke. And that's actually something now that's permanent. And his goal is to not even be a full-time trader. He's just looking to build up his retirement because he enjoys his career. He owns like 7 pharmacies. So here's how the program works, okay? This is the webinar special, and this is only for in here. To make this very, very reasonable, a lot of you are going to be shocked to how reasonable it is. It's kind of a no-brainer to me. So you have the software license, and they'll give you the sector for that. That's a value of about $2,900. The online trading portal access, a little bit less than $1,000. The user guides, the resources, the books, the tools. 6 months unlimited one-on-one support. That's about $5,600, a little bit less than $5,600. But this is the 40-year anniversary for VantagePoint, and they're making it very, very affordable for everybody. And Lane has agreed to allow all of us, anybody in the webinar, to get started today for only $997. Literally getting an entire year for less than $1,000 to me is a no-brainer to give it a shot. If you see the results, if you like the results, renew after a year, you can. You don't have to, but it was a no-brainer to me. So for those who are interested in learning more and want to kind of maybe try it out and go for the 1-year webinar special, if you're ready to take advantage of the webinar special, or if you have any questions at all you need to do at this point in time is type in a telephone number into the question box. And what you're doing, you're saying, I have some questions. You're not making any major commitments at this second. You're saying, I have some questions. What we'll do is we'll reach out to you. An AI software expert will reach out to you. Spend as much time as necessary. Make sure all your questions are answered. You're confident, comfortable, folks. You're off to the races. Yes, Sean says, can you trade options? Yes, we have some options tools as well in there. The only problem you'll have is that you didn't see this webinar 3 months ago and get started back then because you would have already been ahead of the game. And again, for me, it was kind of a no-brainer. For $1,000, we lose that much in a trade. And I said, okay, if this thing can give me an advantage, if I make at least $1,000 by the tool, I'm in a good place, not some $15,000 software. So I'll read off some of the names. Robert, I got you. Not with the special, Sabrina. So if you guys want to talk about the IntelliScan, that's something different. It's not with this special. But definitely it can be available. It's not that bad. Ronald, you got a 916 number, my friend. I'm from Northern California originally. Good to have you in here. So yeah, Jerry, I got you. Harish, I got your phone number. Mark, I got your phone number. If you guys have questions, feel free to just type your phone number. We'll get on the phone. What we're not doing is trying to commit you to anything. We're saying, hey, if it makes sense, we'll move you forward. We'll get you the software. If it doesn't, we won't. We want to make sure those questions get answered one-on-one. I'm running a little short on time. Brett, I have your phone number. Sajia, I have your phone number. Paul, Ron, if I didn't reach out your name, I can even give you guys a link if you want to. Some of you just want to click on a link and say, okay, for $997. I'll go ahead and I'll get the tool. But I'd recommend talking to somebody. But if you want to, you could type in the word link, and I'll send you out a link. You can buy it through the link if you want to, or you can do both. It's up to you. Okay. Now I just want to make you aware. Please note there is a $35 a month data subscription. This is not through VantagePoint. This is through traders only. So it's not something that VantagePoint controls. It's kind of like the software is kind of like buying your car, and the data service is like getting gas. It's not some $200 a month data service that a lot of companies look for. $35 a month is really kind of a drop in the bucket, okay? Jeff, I've got your phone number. Charles, I got your phone number. Let's see, Michael, I got your phone number. Thank you. John, I got your phone number. Linda, I see with the link there. No problem. Now, I do have a little extra here. One of the bonuses that we're going to do is typically if somebody were to just call up the company and they were to do, you know, the software package, they would say, hey, we can come install the software for you, and it's be a couple $100. What I'm going to do today for everybody in the webinar is I'm going to waive that. Okay, they'll come in, they'll log into your computer, they'll install everything, you'll have a conversation with them, they'll teach you how to set things up. It's been about an hour, maybe about an hour and a half, and they'll walk through with you. Just make sure you type in fast action if that's something you want to get taken advantage of. Little extra bonus there for those who are in here. Tina, I've got your phone number. Mayhen, I got you. Linda, yes. David, I got your email address. If you could type in a phone number. Let's see. Freddie, I've got you. John, I can't do that legally, my friend. But if you type in a phone number, we get on the phone, we can kind of maybe see if we can connect you one way, shape, or form. I don't know what that looks like, but legally we can't give somebody else's phone number out, my friend. Okay. Tony, I've got your phone number. Jacob, I got your phone number. Martha, I got your phone number. Please make sure you type in your phone number, even if you're typing in the word link. Okay. Please make sure you do that. So what kind of value can you place on peace of mind? I don't care whether you're a Forex trader, stocks trader, futures, it's all the same stuff here. We're looking at predictions. Knowing that there's a 40 years of history, a credible software company, accessible account managers, Paul, I got you, Linda, I got you, okay, and world-class software, artificial intelligence. So go ahead and continue to type in your phone number. For those of you still thinking about putting in a phone number, let me ask this question. Does the idea make sense to you? Like, does the idea make sense? Because the beautiful thing about VantagePoint is that you have everything you need to get an edge on like 90% of the traders. Believe me, if I'm even half right, let's just say I had to make up half what I just told you. You'd be very, very impressed. If I'm wrong, you're smart people, okay? You'll figure out really quickly. If I'm wrong, you figure it out real quick. If I'm right, imagine the possibilities, okay? So we're gonna hold your hand every step of the way, ensuring we maximize your potential, and hopefully that sounds fair enough. So I'm just gonna walk through. I have one more little opportunity that's gonna happen potentially tomorrow, one setup. So let me go back to that in a second. I want to talk about Alistair here. He's actually a client here. He's a retired Air Force pilot. He was a 747 pilot, and now he's an actor. Unique story. He's got a pretty cool story because it's similar to a lot of us. Because he saw the product, and he was a little concerned about the price. Now, he did not see the webinar special, okay? But he's a little concerned about the price. And then he realized that he was going to trade regardless, like I told all of you earlier. And that he's lost way more than what the software actually cost. So get this, within 3 days of getting started, he recouped all his losses, including a 7,000 day, 1 day loan. Now, is that going to be your story? I'm not saying that. But it's cool to know that that's what sometimes people go through, okay? So good to know this. You guys, all these questions are great. I just want to make sure that if you got all these questions, like John, I see your questions, Sean, Rick, I see your questions, Aaron, type your phone number. We'll get on the phone. We'll go over it. If it makes sense, we'll enroll you and get to the software. If not, no big deal. Okay? Fair enough? I just don't want to sit here and answer one-on-one questions if it doesn't pertain to everybody, and I told you guys I'd be less than an hour. So make sure you have your phone number. And for those of you that typed in the word link, okay, I'm going to work on getting you access to that link. 1 second here. Just want to make sure you guys, so do me a favor, don't log off yet. If you want to type in the word link, don't log off yet. I'll get you the link and get you guys set up so you can maybe click on the link if that's what you wanted to do. So give me a second. I'll get that for you. Parrish, I have your phone number. Steve, I got you as well. 1 second. I'm going to get you guys that link. I thought I had it here in the webinar. 1 second. I'm going to kind of pop out of here and go check it out. I have it set up over here somewhere for like a go buy now link. One moment. Okay. So give me a second to find that. I'll get it out to you guys. Just stay online for a little bit. Oh, here it is right here. And I'm going to copy it from here, copy, and do the paste. All right, so that should be good. 1 second here. I'm just making sure I got everything all set up for you guys to get to that link. Sorry about that. I thought we had it set up over here. Here we go. Check the link first. All right, let me go check this out. So this should be good. Yep, I just checked that link. Should be good to go. So I'm going to send it out. I just sent it out to Steve. Bill, I just sent the link out to you. Fred, I just sent the link out to you. Matter of fact, I'll send it to everybody. And I'll do that as a group, and then I'll send it out to everybody as individuals. Rick, I just sent it to you. Let's see here. I got Michael. I just sent the link to you. Can you guys confirm that that works for me? Those of you I've called out, can you guys confirm that that actually works for you? It worked for me on my side. I just checked it out. I want to make sure it worked. Clyde, I just sent it. Okay, Sean, you're good. Good. You see this, the $9.97 price, not the full price, correct? I just don't want to send you to the full price page. All right, gotcha. Let's see, Rick's good. I just sent it to Billy Mahan. I'm sending it to you right now. Ron, I just sent it to you as well. Cool. Tim, I just sent it to you as well. Let's see, Ken, I just sent it to you as well. And Tim, we're going to give you a call as well. All right. Edward, I just sent it to you. Good. Thank you guys for the feedback and that it works. And then a different Ken T, I'm going to send it to you. And I think that's it. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Ronald, I got you. And then Mark, I got you. Okay. Good. So I would recommend talking to somebody before you click that link, or not before you click the link, but before you submit it, just so you can get some questions answered. We don't want people getting started in something that they don't really know what they're getting into. So let's get on the phone and do something. So I want to show you guys one last thing. I have a portfolio that I'm looking at right now. These are my active watch. Thank you, Sajid. I appreciate that. My active watch. And so what I looked at this morning, I want you guys to be aware, watch for Equifax. Yeah, Leslie, I've got you. Okay, watch for Equifax. How many of you can see the Equifax right now? Okay, it has the crossover getting ready to happen. Now it has not happened yet. It has the neural index red. All three of the predicted differences heading in the right direction, and tomorrow's candle, the next day's candlestick is heading down. If this bad boy crosses over, okay, if this bad boy crosses over, we're in for a good run there, okay? So somebody asked about Amazon, so let me bring that guy up. I think Amazon was looking kind of ugly, Amazon. So if things look ugly, we stay away from them. Amazon, no, actually, no, you're right. You're right, that was it. I forgot about Amazon was one that's actually setting up for a potential reversal as well. Do you see that? Who was it that asked about that? Clyde, do you see that? So we still want to wait for the crossover on Amazon, but we have the neural index, we have the predicted differences, and we have next day's trading range, okay? So hopefully that helped you guys out. I enjoyed chatting with you. I went a little bit over my time, more so than I'm supposed to. I only had an hour window for Hubert, but I enjoyed chatting with you guys. Just type in a phone number. We can get on the phone, ask any questions. Have a great afternoon, great morning, great evening. I'm officially signing off, folks. Take care, guys. I enjoyed chatting with you. I'm out.